11.
Do you have the, I have the white one up right now in my hand.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Although, I don't know if we're even using 11 in this one.
Just throw it up anyway. Don't use 11 though, use orange.
Orange is close?
I'm getting hits on white.
Okay.
Orange. Let me try and find it. Got it.
Oh, actually, I didn't realize how close you were there.
Yeah.
Hit it with blue. Blue.
Excuse me. Can I bother you with a question? Do you have the updated, like,
The course plan?
Yes.
No, I don't have it,
Okay,
sorry.
no problem.
They
Thank
didn't
you.
upload on the website, so I...
Oh, okay. No problem. Thank you. No one has the new list. They're all just like, I don't know. Okay, this is going on 11.
Great. Now, Nathan, the A10, is there a mic plugged into there? Because I've got wireless signal.
I'll check in a minute here.
Yeah, I've got mic signal on it, but no audio.
One sec here. Bradley. How's the signal on blue right now?
Signal on blue is good.
Okay. I'm trying to keep it away from water, so I put it in a different spot.
I don't know what you did, but signal took a big hit there.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. I'll do this.
You want to give me green there? Green?
Oh my god. How's this signal like?
It's not great.
I'm trying to... Oh, you know what? I can put this one high.
Seemed like it was just bad when it was in the bag with everything else.
I'm sorry, I'm doing what?
Oh, it just seemed like it was bad when it was in the bag with everything else.
No, I had it low. I'm trying to... It's just trying to find a good spot for it, because none of this tape's going to stick, like the paper tape, you know?
Oh, right. Sure up here?
So I'm hiding it in like a tree,
Gotcha.
the foliage here,
Foliage.
because this way the tape won't... This should work for... It's kind of in between the two of them.
Okay. And what are those two jumps?
This is 1 and 6. 1 and 6.
Thank you.
That's 1 and 6.
And then 7, I think, will be the next one. Down at the end. white on. Oh, that was purple. Let me just do this. I got this on that. Give me orange on 7.
Orange?
Orange.
Okay. Okay, that one is in a bush because I'm trying to avoid trying to tape them to stuff so they don't fall on the ground.
Fair enough.
It's hidden in the bush.
All right.
How's that?
I think that's all right.
Okay.
You want to head to that the totem pole red one now? get the ones that we got out there working with though.
Is it the one that you used to?
No, I'm just talking about it.
Okay.
Is this one working right there?
That one seems to be.
Okay, then you want me to put it in the field anyway and then see what it is or what you're looking something, or do you want to stop at the stone?
You know what? Yeah. Let's keep that. You know what? No, let's swap them. Because I've got a feeling that as soon as we go through the motions, it's like just a hundred slots.
Okay. And then just like the ones we're missing are the ones that if I had a dump truck, then we probably
We'll just roll the 4 spots.
okay.
No way. White. Oh, it didn't even work. Do what you can. I trust you.
So athletes, we're going to be bringing in the renovations equipment in just a few moments' time, so if you could just start thinking about wrapping up your course inspections.
Hey Nathan, when we get out there, just leave the A10 and the A20 out there on the same jump. No sense having Mike sitting in bag, not doing us any good.
Athletes, trainers, if we can clear the ring, please, so that we can get the drag equipment in preparation for an on-time start. With our first course due to go at 4:30.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to Thunderbird Show Park here in Canada. A wet afternoon, I'm afraid, and for those that have tuned in over the last few days, you'll have seen us on the grass. We've actually moved across to the Thunderbird Arena where they staged the World Cup here last year as a change on our schedule, and here we have a lineup still that is top class though, competing on this beautiful arena. It's unfortunately not a beautiful day, but testing conditions can bring the very best to the top still, and we will see a big lineup for this $235,000 Longines Grand Prix. 39 due in all to start in the first round, and of course this the first major part of the week with the Nations Cup still to come here on Sunday as well. So taking us to round about the just over halfway point of our lineup here, we see Australia, of course, they're going to be here as part of the teams, as are Israel, USA, and Ireland. Shane Sweetnam there, Alejandro will go 30th of our lineup. Daniel Bloom and Gemma W. Strong one that could come out of this. Ashley Bond, Carolina Bullmore, big Grand Prix winner earlier on this season as well, goes 34th. Marietta Laurier for Canada, and then further down to the world number 5, Connor Swale, and Rowan Willis of Australia, and Ken Farrington rounding things off with 2 of the world's top 10 in our final group as well. Well, as I say, it's been wet conditions, and a quick change around for Peter Holmes, who's done a great job here in getting things ready on a different arena. 87 seconds the time allowed over 16 jumping efforts, 13 numbered obstacles here in the arena, a long run down to the last, and just putting the finishing touches to the surface here, and in a moment we'll welcome out the anthem singer as well to start off proceedings for this Longines Grand Prix here this afternoon. All part of the series for the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup that culminates in the final in Barcelona at late September, early October every year, and today it is, as I say, the individual honours we're concentrating on with the Grand Prix class. Biggest money for the individuals of the week, and then of course that $400,000 Nations Cup competition here on Sunday as well. Tough day under these conditions, but again, everyone's risen to the challenge. Arena crew, everybody here who've produced the Grand Prix course out on this arena. 2 5-star classes here today. In fact, we saw one a little bit earlier on today with a good Canadian win. Can the home side take home the Grand Prix as well? We will see. There's a good record for a few of the riders here featuring it here this week, and we've seen wins before now, including for Mexico as well in this class. So 36 in all coming forward in the first round. Traditional jump-off class, and so those going clear inside that time, as I mentioned, will be going on to the jump-off as well. But unfortunately, it's full wet weather conditions, and there is our anthem singer about to get underway under the Longines umbrella there, and she was delighted to welcome her back to the arena. Was with us last week, part of the 2 weeks of 5-star here, and it's going to be Alicia Visa to be singing the national anthem, of course, of Canada.
So to sing the national anthem, Alicia Visa.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, not true nor strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
A bright spot on a wet afternoon, Alicia Visa.
Well, bringing a bit of brightness into a drab day, and we hopefully are going to bring a bit of sunshine to you as well. Katie Stazak alongside me, Steve Wild, to take you through the Grand Prix here today. As I say, it's where they staged the FEI World Cup here last year as well. So it's an arena with a well-proven record of holding big classes, and a big course lies ahead for them as well. Katie, he's certainly given them plenty to think about. Some big lineups in here.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the best lineups that this venue has ever put forward when it comes to top combinations. We have 3 riders in the top 15 in the world competing here this week. A carryover from last week where we had another 5-star competition. First time in this venue's history that they've had 2 back-to-back 5 stars. This is a stiff test. I think Peter Holmes has done a super job, particularly being able to translate this course from what he had originally intended on the field to the smaller, more compact arena.
Yeah, 2 very different arenas indeed, but again, working his magic here to test the best. And I say 36 of them coming up, including 2 of the world's top 10. But we'll take you through a whole list of them because there's a long track record for a lot of them featuring in this field. And the likes of Daniel Blumen, past 5-star Grand Prix winner, and the likes of Wellington and in Rome. Niall Nassar as well on that list. Ashley Bond, also past 5-star Grand Prix winner. Eugenio Garza, terrific record in the Grand Prix and Nations Cup here too at Thunderbird Show Park as well. To Jane Tidball and all of the team at Thunderbird have done an amazing job, as I say, under the testing wet conditions. And it is, thankfully, it is just wet at the moment, but it is making things a little tough for them. But great surfaces here, lots of great infrastructure, so they can cope with it and have done it brilliantly so far.
The footing looks fantastic,
Yeah.
and you're out there walking, and it just feels pristine. They do an incredible job here. I'd be lying if they say they weren't used to this. This feels very Canadian, very like the area. Of course, we've had beautiful weather leading up to today, but this is not something that they are unfamiliar with.
Absolutely. So they will cope with it, I am sure. They're out in the wetness to start us off is going to be Jim Ifko, is a rider from Calgary, Alberta, so should be able to deal with this. And again, it just it adds a little more to the focus as well. Jim Ifko and the Eventire Farms, Un Diamant de Forêt. Now 14 years of age, this horse by de Montesemi, one that came into the big Grand Prix maybe a little bit later in their career as well. And remember, we've had a truncated couple of seasons too, but this one that has now very much stepped up into the 5-star level as well for this rider that starts us off. So Canada to get us underway. Placed well at Spruce Meadows before now, and in Ocala and down in Wellington too. But going to be our guiding light around this course for the first to go. Just taking it in, just mulling things for a moment there. As I say, time allowed of 87 seconds on the course here, and we'll give you a little bit of detail as we go. So bell goes to get Jim into action. All eyes will be on him. It's a good move here to produce them onto some very good safe going for this Longines Grand Prix here this afternoon. A few of the names and faces immortalised around various banners around the arena. 13 fences, or the last 12 to 13, long run down those.
Yeah, there's a couple of lines in here that are quite long.
Yeah.
Lost a little bit of equipment here early on. A couple of really long lines that you would see out on the field. He's done, again, a really great job translating that here.
Yeah, has not been tempted to go into, as you say, short sort of backward distances in there. There's a couple of related distances, but most of it is really extending you across the arena.
Absolutely.
Come on to the 4 strides down to 6. Already swiftly coming into those 160 verticals.
And that's a bit of a narrow upright. That line walks very easy for a bigger strided horse.
As you say here, there's quite a bit of space to get
really
into this
long
combination
run
line.
to the triple
Yeah.
combination, which I think might catch a few people off guard.
Now again, being the trailblazer, has the dubious task of being the one to give us a good idea of time here as well.
And this is a challenging turn right here. Right off the corner, he does that well. Gonna be interesting to keep an eye on the time too. He's riding this very accurately. Pole coming down there, just that penultimate fence, and here's that very long run off a bit of a blind turn to the final vertical, but it just looked a bit steady there.
Just finished on the 486.36, but it's going to be inside the time allowed of 87 seconds. And so just dropping the one fence there for Jim Ifko, our first one out with Undimont de Forêt. And now on to Mexico. We've spent, well, his winter down in Miami at Miami University. This is a little bit different weather to what he's used to experiencing for the next of our Mexican riders, the young, talented Daniel Riahan. As I mentioned, by university, he's still young into the sport. His father also competed in a superb team around him. This is John Perez's Desperado DN, 14-year-old by Argentinas. And for the rider that also was into the medals for the Young Rider Championships last year. A little bit sticky at the first.
Yeah, it gets a little bit quiet there to the first jump, but might get a little rub that'll help him out later on. Daniel's come a long way, and really a credit to John Perez, his coach, who's developed both rider and horse in this situation. Again, just getting a little bit to the base of these jumps. Might want this horse a little bit more out in front of him to get across those oxers. But the horse has a big step and just carries a bit past that 4-stride line. That's a narrow vertical, very careful fence. This horse has a ton of scope. Not quite jumping into that gymnastic of the triple combination the way he would like. I think Peter Holmes has been very generous and fair with the time allowed given the conditions. Oh, this horse is giving a super effort because he's getting down these lines so easily, and Daniel knows it. He's fighting there, and that turn is going to catch a few off guard, and you have to stay out just a touch more. He caught it a bit too direct, and his horse didn't get his eye on it.
Yeah, going to say call it for a day, and he's going to retire there for Daniel Riahan and Desperado TDN. So decided to retire for the young Mexican rider. Kaylin Campbell will be heading on out. As you say, you can see it's not the easiest of conditions out there at the moment, but the very best has been produced to try and make it as good as possible for them. Kaylin Campbell and Armentos. Let's have a little look back here at Daniel Riahan from a little bit earlier on.
I mean, he jumped in as close to the base as he could have into that line, and it still got easy for him and just kind of rolls over that vertical. I think he had the right plan, but that is a very technical line.
Kaylin Campbell and Armentos, the 11-year-old by Armitage for her, also part of the 5-star here this last week as well. Not been one that she's ridden for too long, as really only this season come into the big time with this horse. Was previously ridden by a Brazilian rider, and for her this would be the biggest test for this combination so far, so we'll see how they fare here. Caitlin, who's now based on the west coast of the USA as well, but again continues to build that set of horses up around her too, which is great to see.
It is great to see. She's a super rider, really tough, fearless, come out on a horse she doesn't know all that well and put forward a really strong performance here, looking really solid so far. And running that SWS training and sales operation. She's just on so many different horses. She's become a producer that people look for top mounts, as well as a rider herself.
And well throughout the World Cup circuit as well with Paulina de Lesco. And also 2 5-stars that she moved back into last season.
She is giving a foot-perfect ride at the moment. Little rattle there. That line you really have to almost ride straight a couple of times and then turn.
Looking good for the last, but time might just get a little bit. Should be just. Is going to be on the edge. Yes, she is 86.74. So squeaks in there for Caitlin Campbell and Armentos. As you say, not a lot to play with there. That curve line there, most of them getting the 7 down there. You could go out the 8, but then you're going to be in trouble for time as well. There's not an awful lot to play with. So 86.74 from Caitlin Campbell and a 0 score puts her into that jump off so far. And as I say, they haven't done an awful lot together, and that's one of the biggest they've jumped, so that's a good result for them.
I think she'd be really pleased with that.
Yeah. Hyde Moffat and Ariel Granger's Gisborne VDL, the 11-year-old by Zorocco Blue for the next of the Canadians. Finished well in the Longines World Cup qualifier in Ocala. back in the early part of the year, back into March as well, placed there. And riding for Canadian owner Ariel Grange, and also owns the horses with Daniel Coyle. That we'll see some of those featuring this week too. So Caitlin Campbell giving them a good idea of how to tackle this.
Giving a great kind of direct ride there. You know, for a smaller space, it's really easy in this type of course with some of these longer lines to get a bit lost, go a bit wide, and lose some of that valuable time, particularly to the last line. You really want to set up these jumps, but you have to save that time and be expedient where you can.
Shakes things up down to the triple, but again, plenty of room here, and it's not going to, the triple bar to the triple combination, not having too much of an impact on each other. You've got enough space there to be able to get back to it, but again, as you say, you don't want to be drifting down some of these lines where you get lulled into, I've got a long extended run. Full up to height plank at 160.
Riders are getting right down to that triple combination in a solid 10 strides. It's what it looks like, again, with a little bit of shape. He rides that line very well, too. And on all of those tests really designed to stretch the horse out. And then you have to regroup for these final fences. And with all this room, set it up, make sure the horse gets their eye on it off the blind turn without being too slow. And again, we're going to see the clock.
We are, because just setting up down that last line, as we said, just costs him. And it is unfortunately 2 time penalties, because it's 1 for 1 in terms of time. 87 seconds time allowed, 88.05. So that counts as 2. For Hyde Moffett and Gisborne VDL. Again, very solid round, just well, hesitant isn't the word, but just a little bit slower on some of those turns.
You know, you would call it very calculated, very, you know, I don't want to say manufactured, because it came out very nicely.
Yeah, it was.
But, you know,
deliberate.
Yes,
deliberate
that is the word.
Deliberate was the word I was looking for. There we go. It is on to Matt Cohn and the Chadburn Holdings Zaida San Giovanni 5-star Grand Prix winners last year as well. Mac needing a little introduction in Canada. He's been an Olympic medalist for them and been one of the leading men of Canadian sport through a long distinguished career so far, and is still showing them how to do it.
Yeah, this horse has been super for him to bring him back to this level. He's done a great job with him and working on a nice rhythm. You know, I saw Jim Ifko go, and I thought he took his time rather and didn't have anything on the clock. So I think it's fair that they have not adjusted the time, especially with the combinations to come. He stays out a little bit wider, does 11 strides into this triple. It's really off your eye. You have to do what works best.
And that was the thing, talking to a couple of riders around there. It was, well, there's 1, maybe 2 distances in there. The rest of it, you're really going off your eye for it. And again, if you're into the realms of, especially with the riders at this level, 10, 11, 12 strides, they'll work that out. But you say, just got to be conscious of the time around here.
Yeah, just aware, and he's working on a nice rhythm.
87 being that time, should be good. Should be very good. 83.79, as you say, into a nice rhythm there for Matt Cohn. Gives us the second clear round so far. Zaida San Giovanni. Mark Samuel's owner and team will be at home watching that one with enthusiasm, I'm sure. So clear round number 2.
So it looks like they have adjusted the time then, because Caitlin had 1 on the clock.
86. Caitlin 86.74, so he's inside the 87. Matt Cohn 83.74, so he's that good bit quicker. So Hyde Moffett picking up the 2. No, they're staying where they are, 87 by the looks of it. So yeah, there we go. 2 clears. It is with Katie Laurie of Australia, Django the second, 11-year-old by Lodano for the Australian rider. Based now in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta. And for her, that was a new move back in 2020. Interesting year to make a big move in as she came into that. New life, new everything else. And then for her, it's been, again, showing everyone how to do it over here, because she came in straight in with a host of big wins in Michigan that year. And then since, again, continued on that winning streak. Part of the team this week for Australia. And Katie with this horse that has been bred by her family as well. Father was a very successful international rider as well, and this is out of one of the lines that he's produced and related to what was her big ride Delphi. Of course, she then went on to a host of other big championships too, with other rides too. Went to the World Championships, I think, with Delphi. But very good indeed. Katie has been a good addition to the lineup here.
She has. She's a super rider. She's done very well at this venue. Be interesting to see how she uses today. She will jump the Nations Cup on this horse, but she's steadying all the way around. She added up the first line, but this horse is pretty naturally quick. He just looks a little bit keen and strong with her. She's really trying to get him back on his haunches. That 6 gets very, very easy. Really nice to see Australia with a team this week.
Whoa, she says, whoa. Get it right for the last.
What a ride.
There they will, yeah, absolutely. Working down that final line, 84.16. And third clear round so far, Katie Laurie and Django the second.
I mean, she had to work for that.
Yeah.
She used all of her upper body strength, but she knows that horse so well. You know, starting it from the very, very beginning. This horse means the world to her. Super effort.
Absolutely, and staying with Australia for a man who's competed at multiple Olympic Games for Australia, now based down on the west coast in the USA. Matt Williams, the HD horse, is Dandy, the 11-year-old by Douglas, and this was a ride, I think Caitlin Campbell was riding this one as well previously, but now in the hands of Matt Williams, who's going to feature on the team this week. As I say, he's got plenty of championship experience and has really built a successful business out in the US now. Spent some time based in Great Britain too, along a well-established career.
Yeah, he is.
And Oriso won the 5-star Grand Prix here last week as part of the Canadian Premier 5-star, and now looking to see if they could follow it up now. For those that watched last week as well, this was an unbelievable round to win the Grand Prix. They also won at the tail end of last year at the Desert Horse Park in California, but the Irish rider based over in the US and running for the Alan Farmer Mute, New Jersey, long-time supporters of him on this 11-year-old stallion by Casal, but a horse that absolutely eats the ground, and that was the discussion last week as well. I mean, this horse's stride is massive. It's like going to a secretariat when you were in the world of racing, just bigger than everybody.
To measure the stride, absolutely. I mean, he went around everywhere in that jump-off course last week and was still faster. It was just tremendous. You know, rideability has always been this horse's issue. He has all the ability in the world, and you can see the work that Jordan's put in and now having that rideability. I remember just about a year ago, his first kind of breakout win was at Upperville.
Upperville, yep.
And you watch him and you just see the sheer power.
Again, and that's where you can see it handles the plank no trouble at all.
Like that line there, he would not have been able to do, you know, a year and a half ago. My word. The scope is not lacking. And they're just fighting.
Yeah.
Thinks he might be finished there. Gets him back to business.
Well, unfortunately, it is just going to be 4, though. 83-43, Jordan Coyle and Oriso. They say Peter Holmes just lulling them into a little sense of, are we done and dusted as they come on that long line. Little look back here, yeah, just flicking front at the Oxer there. But yeah, they come over 12, and then it's a good halfway down the arena, if not slightly more than that, to get the last fence. You do start to get that feel.
You easily think that you're finished.
Yeah.
It's off a blind turn, too.
Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez of Mexico. Quinley, 13-year-old by Quintero. I know this is one of your favourites.
I love this
Not
horse.
that we play favourites.
No. and really, I'll stand at the arena and be like, oh, I love this horse. You know, everyone that comes in, because these are just incredible athletes that are getting to this, you know, part and point in the sport.
Won a Grand Prix in Monterrey in Mexico back in April of this year. He's been a part of Pan Am teams. That was actually in Canada and Toronto going back to 2015. A 3-time riding at the World Cup finals as well. So rider with plenty of experience, and good to see him with this 13-year-old, as you say, has been a key part for big competitions for Mexico, and I'm sure will play a part again over the coming months for the Mexican team as well.
He was the reserve rider for the Mexican team in Jalapa. He's had this horse since he was a 4-year-old. They have a super partnership. Just a real honest, hard-trying horse. He doesn't impress you with ridiculous scope, but he always does just enough to get over the fences. He knows where the rail is. Just a fighter. Gonna have to keep a little bit of an eye on the time there. He ended up doing 12 strides into that triple combination. Just one of the areas on course that can, as you said, lull you into a little bit of a backwards pace trying to set it up. Perfect to the 7. Revving the engine just a bit. Look how he can move up and then the horse comes right back to him. What a lovely horse.
Absolutely. Time to play with 84 at 64. Certainly proving their worth here today and giving us the next of the clears there. It is the 4th clear so far of this Longines Nations Cup Grand Prix of Canada. Clear rounds added in there with the 4th there for Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez and Quinley. But just again looking so solid, calm, relaxed around that course.
You could just see the confidence in this partnership, and he knew his horse that he needed to take a check into the triple combination, but he was able to move up in other places. The time wasn't an issue. That was a super smart ride. They look so confident.
Just awaiting our next with 4 clears now with Katie Laurie in there for Australia, Matt Cohn for Canada, and Caitlin Campbell for the USA. Thanks, I think, to the arena crew out there as well in literally all weathers over the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately getting a little bit wet, very wet here this afternoon. Out of the orange T-bird coats. And that handles pretty well any conditions is Alberto Michel, multiple Olympian. Rode in London in 2012 and in 2008 as well. And well-established rider. Coming into their second 5-star Grand Prix, actually in their first was last week. Horse that he's ridden this year. Rode in the Nations Cup earlier on this season, back into Florida as well to get them good experience ready for this Longines FEI Nations Cup series. Nabel de Trevera, the 12-year-old by Nabab de Rev for Alberto Michel. Going to be a part of a team of 3 for Israel here this week, but it's a very strong 3 with Abi Misha in there, with Daniel Blumen and of course Ashley Bond as well.
They have an exceptional team. It is small in numbers but very, very high in quality. And this horse is proving to be a super horse for Abby. He and his brother Danny, they do a super job producing horses, selling horses, and they know talent when they see it. Unfortunately, they're going to take an early rail today and just really getting down that line easily. Looks like the horse might just be pulling him past the distance that he was once a little bit. Yeah, and again, just getting a bit more to the base than Abby would like. He's going to really take his time here, try to set up for the plank and finish on a positive note. You can see sitting all the way back in the tack, much better through that double. You know, at this point, he completely has his eye on preparing for Sunday in the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
So a great school and ends much better than it started.
Time to add to the score, total of 15, that's 89.53, as you say. A good way to then, you know, as a professional will do, use it to achieve their aims regardless. Okay, we've had a fence, but unfortunately not quite working around for their play in the Grand Prix, but still leaving them a few things to think about and build on for the Nations Cup later on this week. Ali Ramsey now, the Ramsey equestrians. Bonita Van Heert, Kizishov said, the 11-year-old by Busty, goes back to the breeding of For Pleasure as well for Ali. And now for the Canadian, originally from British Columbia actually, now based in Ontario. Placed down in Thermal on the west coast of the US earlier on this year, where she was basing for the early part of the season. And now back on home grounds here for the Canadian.
This really is home. She's a true West Coaster. You see her all throughout California. Here at Thunderbird, she's a regular, wearing a red coat this week as part of the Canadian contingent for Nations Cup week. A big honor for her.
Absolutely looking forward to seeing Canada in action here. They have been winners here on home grounds at Langley before now. Strong Canadian group, going to be led by Eric Clamars, who's now chef to keep for the Canadian squad.
Things coming up nicely for her so far. Of course, wants to fight a little bit against the contact coming into the triple combination, but listens nicely. I think Ali's working on a super pace in this round. Just a nice rhythm. A little deep there into the double. You really need, though, to give yourself as much space out over that vertical. She's giving a great ride.
Yeah. Just a few little touches in there, and just got to keep it nothing more than that. Time is good. So
now she can take a little bit of a breather. A little long to that vertical. That's a little risky.
81.19, took a longer one at the last. Ali Ramsey and Bonita Van Heert, Kizishov said, will give us the fifth clear round of this Longines FEI Grand Prix so far. Again, it's all about leaving them up, and again in a jump off, that can be key too, getting just enough to get on the other side all the time, and that's one to watch out for this week. Ali Ramsey joining Matt Cohn as the two Canadians into that jump off so far. They've been joined by Australian Katie Laurie, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez of Mexico, and Caitlin Campbell, of course, of the USA. Lisa Carlson now, live stream for her, being on a winning team here previously for the Canadians. And that was actually last time out in 2019. It was alongside Nikki Walker, Tiffany Foster, and Mario Delorier. Different ride on that occasion. And now it is live stream, the 12-year-old by Lodanis, for a group of owners here in Canada to give this experienced rider a shot at this Olympian for the Canadians.
You just look at the strength of the individuals for Canada this week. I mean, you know, Matt Cohn and Ali Ramsey are both clear. I believe Ali's the reserve for Canada.
Yeah.
Mac's riding as an individual. And, you know, they're both in this jump-off. Canada's having a super group at the moment. You see Lisa, who's been a part of the winning team here, riding as an individual. This will probably be one of the biggest tests for her with this horse. Good job of carrying the rhythm, taking that triple bar off a short turn, and you have to quickly regroup. You've got a bit of room to this triple combination, and you just kind of see him shift hard left in the air, and C will catch them. It's a little bit excited after that. He kind of wants to carry her a bit and take over. Good recovery there. She ended up doing 8, really staying out for that oxer. And just got a bit to the base there, couldn't get across. Again, this is definitely one of the biggest challenges that they've taken on, and some really good parts to that.
Lisa Carlson going to finish on a total of 10 at 88.54 with that live stream to go into 10th place, and leading fellow Canadians Ali Ramsey and Matt Cohn into that jump off so far. As you say, with a big attractive kickback there, unfortunately. And we'll move on to Daniel Coyle, who makes this showground very much a happy hunting ground for him. Ivory TCS. He was part of the top 3 in the 5-star Grand Prix here last week as well. Daniel with Ariel Grange's 9-year-old here, the mare by Falaise de Muse. Actually, first time this horse has jumped into a 5-star Grand Prix. Actually won the 2-star Grand Prix here last week, so a different move for them this week.
He's on a really good run of form with this horse. They're on quite a streak. They had a runner-up finish yesterday. The horse is very quick, but this will definitely be the biggest and most technical track that they've faced. Daniel had that super finish last week with his Superstar Mare Legacy, but of course that one we'll see on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely, the horse he rode at the European Championships last year. Now, interestingly, I mean, he's ridden this horse at a few 5-star shows like Calgary, like Sopot last year as well. Of course, it would have been an 8-year-old then, but in those shoulder classes to give them some good experience here. And this is the first time he's gone, okay, let's step it up another gear.
Let's give it a try. Let's try another test. Smaller horse. He does do one additional stride up that first line, but one that covers the ground really well. And the horse has a little bit of a smaller stride, and I don't think Daniel was, prepared to take such a check in that 4-stride line, and it actually did probably come up a little bit sooner than he expected. Handles that gymnastic test, though, very well. Not sure if Daniel might have lost his stirrup there for a moment. Took a glance down at his tack. Oh. Acrobatic through that double. If he can stay on this 4, I think it's a super day and a great answer to this test for this horse. He should be really pleased with that.
He's got a smile on his face, finishing on the 4 there, 83.63. I say a good test to step them into the Grand Prix for the very first time. They've had that good preparation. It's been all about his program to take this horse up to this level. They say we're going to see Legacy later on into the week for him as we look towards the Irish team. Daniel Coyle there going into 8th place on the 4 faults. Just 3 of those on the 4 faults, in fact. So Jordan Coyle and Daniel Coyle. 7th and 8th. Jim Ifko in 9th place. We've got a 2-time faulter with Hyde Moffat. And then those clears, 5 of those at this point. Now, this is a really consistent combination. Going to be interesting to see this one coming together. Carl Cook on the US squad this week. Sydney Osby's Kalinka van Salkvliet, 12-year-old by Thunder van der Zoetova on this mare that won a lot of classes in Wellington, Florida this year. One in 5 stars, one in National Grand Prix as well. And for him, it's a horse that he's developed over the last few seasons too, and is really ready to go here. Featured in the Grand Prix here last week as well. Went round for just the 4 faults on that occasion. From a ride of Lorenzo De Luca.
This horse has been almost unbeatable at 150 and now stepping up. It's great to see Carl with such a top string of horses. He's always had, one very good horse, most recently with the likes of Caillou. But now he has quite a couple that could come right into here. So really great to see. He's riding in super form, of course, continuing to work with the legend that is Eric Neve, and they put horsemanship first, and you see it paying off. Oh, good. Gave a good shift right off the ground, but got the legs out of the way. This is a really athletic horse.
Yeah. Unfortunately, just one of the very few to have that down.
And I thought he set up well for it, too. A bit unlucky, but super round.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving up, as I say, they jumped round last week for just the 4 faults in their first 5-star Grand Prix, following it up this week with just the 1 rail down as well. It's a good building spot for them for the rest of the season. It's going to be a very good one to watch indeed. And just unfortunately,
just at that hind end, just a little tap, but that doesn't take a whole lot for that to come down.
Getting a good rub out in the rain. Thankfully, the rain is easing off a little bit at the moment. So let's just remind you the clears so far. Ali Ramsey, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez, Katie Laurie, Matt Cohn, and Caitlin Campbell as the clears so far. Well, looks like we're going to take a little break in the arena as well as we're hitting towards the halfway point of this class. As we say, 36 in all that we're going to see in this. Some good solid rounds so far. Are we going to see it doubled up to 10? We'll just have to wait and see. We're going to take a little breather for a moment or two as the Kubota tractors head on here to the Thunderbird Arena and just polish things up, ready for the second half of round 1. But 5 clears so far. Looking forward to more in this Longines Grand Prix, part of this Longines FEI Nations Cup show here in Canada.
Yeah, they probably have it all dialed in, so then they'll mute this. This just maybe.
Well, a very good afternoon, and joining us back for a little bit of sunshine poking through here at the Thunderbird Show Park here in Langley in Canada. Second half of the first round of this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix, and looking forward to see how this one plays out with 5 clears already. Little reminder for you of those 5 clears. We've seen Caitlin Campbell, Matt Cohn, Katie Laurie, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez, and Ali Ramsey as the clears so far. So second half of the total of 36 that we're going to see in the first round coming up. A reminder, it's 87 seconds the time allowed. And interesting to see this combination. It is going to be John Perez and Gigi Carmen, the 11-year-old by Bacardi VDL. Katie Stazak alongside me. Katie, I mean, this is a horse we've seen go very well in the speed classes as well. Now moving this one up into the Grand Prix as well. It's a newer ride for them.
Yeah, you know, this is a class where it's a good opportunity to step up and give it a try, particularly with riders looking toward the Nations Cup on Sunday. They can bring forward 3 horses to the 5-star division this week. So, you know, if they're feeling good, you give it a try and step it up, and it's always an educational opportunity. That is the first time we've seen anyone have to move up in that 4-strided line to the vertical, but John's instincts were certainly correct and worked out for him. Good reaction.
Well, absolutely. Former rider Jose Antonio Chedraui of Mexico. Fortunately has the first part of the triple combination. First time this pair have moved up into a 5-star Grand Prix together as well. As I mentioned, seen them in plenty of classes already.
And, you know, a triple combination like that is not something you're going to encounter in one of those classes. It always ends up being a very technical question where we see a lot of rails fall, particularly for horses stepping up newer to the level. It's such a gymnastic test, and they're really with so much room to it, and coming off that forward momentum and the triple bar, certainly a challenge. I'll add one more, and hopefully that's the final total.
Yeah, it is going to be 8 at 85 at 79 for John Perez there, as I say. First 5-star for this horse, dropping the 2 rails there for the rider for Colombia. Swiftly in will be our next, just as we see John heading on out on the 11-year-old. So it's been the first real season for this pair competing together. Newer combination stepping into the 5-star this week, into the Grand Prix, as you say. This is a good one to move into, and obviously competing here individually this week. It is across the Thunderbird Arena, where they staged the Longines FEI World Cup here last year. Connor Swale was the winner on that occasion.
And on many occasions here at Thunderbird Show Park, as recently as yesterday, he is the winningest rider here. Always a contender, and we'll see him stepping up an exciting horse later on in the start order.
Absolutely. Well, and he has won there, what, 6 times here last year. Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne of Mexico on the 10-year-old Martielis by Nabab the Rev for the next of the Mexican contingent here. Strong group here from Mexico as they compete here and then head on to Spruce Meadows. Part of the team that were on the top of the podium in Jalapa a few weeks ago as well. Back into March now, starts to seem a distance away.
They were so impressive on that occasion. They truly took it to heart, that home field advantage, and they wanted to defend it. They were absolutely dominant. This is a similar situation. This would be Manuel's second horse stepping up to this level, and we'll see him with just the fabulous Hortensia in the Nations Cup on Sunday. Really was thinking about that turn right, and didn't quite take that as straight as he could have. I think he got a little bit more to the base than he wanted.
Hortensia, the horse that he rode to a gold at the Central American Games. This horse having jumped in the Grand Prix in Jalapa back in Mexico for the 5-star there. And Puebla for the World Cup show. As you say, this is one of their first real big tests for this combination together. Just leaves a toe on the plank.
Kind of the only other time we've seen that fall was the same type of way, just a tap with the hind end. So you really want to gather back up quickly for that double that follows. But it's nice to see Manuel building up a string. Hortensia has really carried the load for quite some time, and what a star she is. And to have a string to support her is a fabulous thing. We'll take down the last as well.
Yeah, unfortunately it takes them to a score of 15 over all, 12 plus the 3 for time, 89, 19 there for Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne and Martieles for them. Just gets into the bottom of that Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup fence, and just as they stretch out, getting that plank, just a flick behind coming off the turn.
All at verticals, so that's something to just file in the mental space to go home and practice.
You see her father, Brett, just getting into position to watch. Bliss Hears of Las Vegas, Nevada, and it is going to be for the American squad, of course. The Bridgeside Farms owners of the 12-year-old now, Antidote de Mouse. The horse by de Montesemi, the horse that so many have had their eye on. She's been a part of the teams already for Team USA on the squad again here this week. Looking forward to a big year. Also going to be heading over to Europe as well for Bliss.
Yeah, shortlisted for the World Championships. This is a super horse. They have a great partnership. This would be her main objective this week. She is the reserve rider for Team USA.
Just such a lovely combination. Finished on the podium last year into Grand Prix in Mexico, then this season as well in Wellington, Florida, back in February. Certainly well proven. Jump double clears for Team USA before now as well.
Great ride there. And that steady line lands and departs to get ready for the triple bar. Now get the rideability back. The horse is so responsive. Oh, but they just roll a little bit over into that triple combination. Yeah. Maybe wanted to step out just a half a step. Ooh, bit forward there to the plank. Get him back for this very careful double.
Just drags the last one as well, 81-59, stretching out to that final fence, just dropping the two this time, as you say. It is going to be a big few weeks for them, but just rolling on the way into the triple combination there for Bliss Hears and Antidote de Mars. Pierre Contra, Nicolas Pizarro, multiple Olympian for the Mexican squad. Pierre Contra, now 11 years of age by Contagos, this mare. Again, we'll see how he fares this week. I say few of these that may well be their top rides also into that Nations Cup here on Sunday as well, ticking them over ready for this. Some relish more jumping, some are quite happy with a prep, and then off we go.
Yeah, and this mare for 11 is still relatively inexperienced. Nico really took his time with this horse. She's got a ton of scope, really careful. So he made sure that he took it a little bit slow. And she made her Nations Cup debut at Jalapa. That's a bit unlucky there. That's unlike her. Made that Nations Cup debut at Jalapa and was very, very strong. Very solid. Again, just carrying a bit past the vertical. But I would say this is one that, you know, could benefit from a little bit more jumping heading into the week. Looks like she's just a bit keen and pulling him a little bit past some of those verticals, and Nico does a good job really staying out, regrouping for that triple combination, and she jumps it nicely. You know, in this kind of course where you can take a moment and make that correction
Yeah.
effectively is such a skill. And as illustrated there, the mare is not lacking a jump.
Absolutely. So Nick using this to set themselves up for the weekend 84.59, finishing on a total of 8 this time. But as you say, might want to get the horse out again. He gets the 8 faults out of the way here. They'll be ready for their clear rounds come Sunday.
Absolutely. The mare got better. Nico got some valuable information, made a little correction. So he's just got a little shifty and quick and really just a light tap with the hind end there.
So Nicholas Pizarro heading out on the 8. It's the 5 clears so far in this Longines Grand Prix, part of this FEI Nations Cup week here in Canada. Rain has stopped. It's the good news for the day so far. A few umbrellas up. But the rain has stopped at the moment. It has been fairly persistent. And let's talk persistent in terms of results for this combination. 3 wins in Wellington, Florida earlier this year, and it's been their first big year together into FEI, and has been certainly looking good so far. Finished 5th just last week, clearing 4 into the 5-star Grand Prix here out what was on the field then here at Thunderbirds. And Nick Delajoyo with the Berry Group's Cornets Cambridge, the 10-year-old gelding by Belus de Reventon, which of course is one of the leading horses on the US squad as well, under Brian Mowgray.
Exciting to see that horse with so much ability be able to pass it on and have another successful horse as an offspring at this level. This has been a fantastic match between Nick and this horse. And I would say Nick probably has the best string of horses that he's had. Working at Wembley with his father, they sell a lot of horses, and for him to be able to keep a couple of rides, build them up, build those partnerships at this level has been super for him. Great ride. You know, when you have those results and things start to go well, you just go a bit from strength to strength. That confidence just carries, creates a, you know, a domino effect.
Yeah. But again, another one that just gets strung out there at the plank.
And he felt it and made a correction. But that's just such a careful and technical fence there when it's set a bit on that quarter line across the ring and you're jumping from one direction to the other. Just makes it even more technical. Those are always most challenging on those sorts of turns, are coming out of those really steady lines, which is where we most frequently see them.
And bearing in mind, only the second 5-star Grand Prix for that horse. That is just on the 4. It was clearing 4 last week, just on the 4 faults this week as well. And inside the time, just that's where the early fence came, just flicking away the plank. And leaves them into 9th place at the moment for Nick Delajoyo and his ride of Cornets Cambridge, but not too much to worry about there. Going to see the progress of that pairing into the 5-star level. Australia and James Arkins now, Eurostar, the 10-year-old by Diorado. That was a World Cup winning horse for him out in Australia, and now this year competing in Kentucky and in Wellington. The Australian making a move over here to the US as they prep up for those World Championships.
Yeah, he decided to make the move and come out here with the World Championships in mind and getting that experience, catching the eye a bit of those team selectors. And it's been so great for Australia to have him here, because for the first time Australia now can field a team, a full team for the Nations Cup, and that's thrilling, and he's a great addition. This is a super horse. And this will be who he'll ride on Sunday.
Yeah. And again, wouldn't have had the mileage because of being based in Australia for that time.
Right.
You know, they have World Cup shows and so forth, but not yet on the same level as you would be getting in the US or Europe as well. So, you know, he steps up nicely here.
It's a great test, and you have to prove that you can contend with the best. And we see a lot of other top Australian riders here. And then, of course, Edwina Tops Alexander over in Europe are all waving the Australian flag very proudly with success.
Yep, good group of them over in Europe, and now in the US and Canada too, as Australia grows. Just unfortunately a tapper, as you can see by his face, just gets a fraction underneath that penultimate fence. But this is certainly a round I think they're going to take a good smile away from. That just looks like that last fence I think might have dropped as well. Finishing on a score of 8 there, 83-42 for James Arkins and Eurostar. Just those final couple of fences.
Yeah, this is such a grueling test. A lot of jumps in this course. That last line really carries you forward too, but the horse jumped really well. Should be a nice warm-up for Sunday.
Absolutely. Brian Morton now for Canada. Crusaders Z, 13-year-old by Chaco Blue, owned by Spruce Meadows. The facility, I won't say not too far from here, but is in the same country. Everything's well spread out in Canada.
Massive country. But this is home for Brian Morton. He grew up just down the street from here. He's had so many firsts and memorable moments. He has deserved this opportunity at Spruce Meadows so much. He is such a class act, horseman, and just all-around nice guy. I'm a big fan of this horse. Yeah, show me better style and scope than that. What a super mare. I don't know how Brian stays with her sometimes. Smart move there. He stays out and does 11. Just carries through to that last. Just kind of built slowly all the way through. This horse is a very big step. Big mare. You can see how easy that line gets. He even tries to create a bit more space to the left. And it's again the combination that will get them.
They finished top 3 in the 5-star winning round here last week as well, but a step up into this Grand Prix here. Competed in the World Cups here last year as well. Going to be a score of 12 overall, 85-83 for Brian Morton this time with Crusader Z. It's a nice combination. Seeing that from a little bit earlier on from James Arkins. And we will focus in on another grey now with Daniel Blumen and Gemma W. And for the Israeli rider, this horse that's already proven herself on a number of occasions, including in the Hampton Classic Grand Prix, and been close in a number of the big 5-stars. And Daniel, who's been #1 in plenty of them as well, including in Rome and in Wellington, Hampton Classic, as I mentioned too. And for him, this has been an exciting one to then go and start sitting alongside Landriano Z.
It's so hard to compare any horse to that one. I mean, what an incredible horse that is. But really, I feel like Daniel can take a walk down his the aisleway of his stable and just pick one to bring out for a class like this. He has a super string at the moment. He's got this mare and he's got Ubalak here this week.
Has been keeping a string of horses into Europe and here on the North American circuit as well.
Yeah, definitely has the World Championships in mind. We saw Ladriano at Windsor a few weeks ago. Super round there in the Grand Prix. And this mare looks to be in good form also.
Yeah, heads over for a European full tour coming, I think, at the end in the next few weeks.
And he rode that plank exactly how it was meant to be ridden. Super ride. Oh, and he is frustrated with that. I don't blame him. That's just a bit unlucky and not how the ride was going.
That's a shame. Finishes on the 484.56. We'll see him in the team competition here on Sunday. But just the one rail for Daniel Blumen and Gemma W.
Just catching it
Push
behind.
at the moment.
You know, with that water tray, a few horses have really jumped that fence quite high and haven't been able to get across. That is quite a spread, and then that water tray is designed to do just what it's doing, to draw the horse's eye down and make it jump a bit extra high and not quite getting the width of that fence.
So staying at the 5 clears so far in this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix of Canada. Hilary McNerney now, Captain Cooper for the US rider. 15-year-old gelding by Nam Lassar, horse with plenty of 5-star experience, and Hilary getting more and more of that now as well. Trains with Kent Farrington. It's a chance for her to put a few more miles on the clock at this level, but it's a super combination that gelled pretty well straight off. Former ride of Kevin Jochims.
This is a phenomenal horse. I think if I had to pick one of the lot to ride, it would be this one. He is just sensational. They have a super partnership. He loves the way that she rides him. He's so adjustable. Just kind of steps these fences. This horse has really helped Hilary step into this level and get comfortable and confident at this level. He's just right in her hand there for these steady lines. Does it beautifully, makes that look so easy for such a big horse. You could hear her, a bit of those verbal cues, asking him to steady into that triple combination. He just rolls into it with a little bit too much. Oh, that's a challenging line for him. Spot on in the 7. And this horse just builds a little bit as the course goes. He's very smart and experienced, and he kind of knows where he's going. Again, that spread has caught a lot of people today.
Leave them on a score of 8 at 83-34 for Henry McNerney and Captain Cooper. As I say, not too many 5-star Grand Prix that pairing have done so far. Notches up just a couple down at this time. Let's take another look at that Longines triple combination.
She tried to move a bit left to give herself some more space, and she was right there. That was a game of inches.
Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro, second in the Miami Grand Prix a few weeks ago, and a winning horse for him in Lexington too in May. Won in the Grand Prix there, but again has taken this horse right the way through to those big 5 stars. Also been competing in Europe before now, and through to, of course, Olympics as well with this ride. And it's one that's 13 years of age now for the Seabrook LLC for Shane and the Spy Coast Farm.
Between this horse and James Can Cruz,
yeah,
Shane has 2 sensational 5-star grays. And this horse, of course, has just gone from strength to strength and strength. Shane did take a little bit of a step back to build the horse's confidence back up after Tokyo, and he's in super form again. He's really done right by the horse there.
Absolutely, 5-star Grand Prix winners last year in Wellington as well. Shane with a really strong group of young horses coming through that are just on the edge of that 5-star now.
You think of Hollywood, who's also here. He's got a tremendous group, developing a lot of them through that winter circuit in Wellington. Of course, that's where his farm is based. You saw him try to make that correction there coming into the triple. Horse is such an athlete. You can see Shane trying to settle him back down, make sure he's still focused for that last fence. They really do think they're finished with the fence before.
Finishing on just a 4 there, 82.09 into 8th place for Shane Sweetnam and Alejandro. Shows a good 4 faults will still put you in the money at the moment. Sweetnam here, as you say, just trying to make a move into that triple combination. Doesn't quite work out for them, but good to see that pair into the game. And I think later on this week we'll see a little bit more of James Can Cruz as well. So the 5 clear still holding at that, interestingly, into this second half of the first round. Kaylin Campbell, Matt Cohn, Katie Laurie, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez and Ali Ramsey as part of this BC Open this week, sponsored by Odlum Brown. And it is on to Catherine Strauss of the USA, Cincinnati Kid, the 10-year-old gelding by Clarimo. Terrific career as she did through the Young Riders US system U25s, and now getting that exposure into the 5-star level and top training as well with the Madden team.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've trained her all the way through as she's come up the grades and really utilized that young rider and U25 American programs with so much success. This horse has really stepped up to be her top mount. She was super in the 5-star Grand Prix here last week. Just had a time fault. I'm intrigued to see her in this ring versus the field, because I think that might help her when it comes to time, and she won't have as much space to maybe fall into. Right on the mark into the triple. Horse jumps super.
And a very good debut last week for this horse into the 5-star Grand Prix with their first appearance, as you say, with just the one time.
And really just cruised around the track. You can see Catherine's just really confident with this horse. It makes all the difference. Super ride there. Looks like we're going to be okay with time.
Yeah, we are okay.
Just okay. Just okay. It was just enough.
86.89. We were a little short on those clears in this second half. Now we get one coming into the game. It is the 6th clear round. Catherine Strauss and Cincinnati Kid not being held up by the same, well, I'd say error one time foot last week. It was not much of one at all. It was a really solid round. It was a really solid round once again. Catherine Strauss on the clear, 86.89. Another solid performer last week was Nal Nasser, to finish second in that Grand Prix. Now, interesting riding El Conde here today, the 11-year-old for the Evergate Stables, or the Egyptian rider, of course, that lives in the US.
This is still a relatively new partnership for him, but you wouldn't know it watching them, particularly in his warm-up round per se yesterday. And if they're clear, this horse is just fast, just naturally so fast. I mean, he can take a couple of more strides than the others and still be faster. Very, very quick horse.
And again, chased around very quickly last week, but different type of horse to that of Ariso with Jordan Coyle, was just eating up the ground. This is a sprinter. This is he's had some running horses. Absolutely. And with Igor last week as well, and with this one he got a good win here last week as well.
Niall had so much success with a smaller, similar type horse in Lordan coming up for so many years, and this is just his type. He knows it so well, knows how to ride it. Horse is feeling good, and he's used to going quick with those smaller, strided types.
First time he's actually jumped this horse into a 5-star Grand Prix as well. Went into a 5-star last year with previous rider Mark Blumen.
Mark did a great job developing this horse.
Just going to finish on the 482.05, and just the one down for Niall there to go into 9th place overall.
82.05, 9th position on
Just a little flick back and leaves the 1 foot there.
Yeah, it's a shame because the horse was making an effort behind, and a bit of rough luck.
Well, as I say, into their first 5-star, finishing on just the 4, goes into 9th place for Niall on 82.05. It is on to Ben Aslan now. Baton Rouge, 11-year-old by Banderos for the Attaché Stables, his former ride of Sambiers, who jumped actually this horse in the Nations Cup in Spruce Meadows last year. New one for Ben. Actually, Ben, who had a win here last year in the T-Birds Grand Prix. And then we'll head to home ground of Spruce Meadows in the end of this week.
Yes, it's coming up very quickly.
Yeah.
Ben, it's great to see him back at this level. He's battled quite a few injuries over the last few years. He's used Thunderbird to bring up a lot of his horses, particularly as Spruce has had some cancellations over the years, of course, due to the state of affairs in the world. And just going to take that careful -60 narrow upright. Well, he set up for that line very well. Horse kind of just shifted maybe a little bit left. And does the same thing again there into the triple combination. And then is left with a little bit too much space out to sea, and he elects to just circle.
Yeah, was jumping the freshman a little bit earlier on today in the 2-star. This one coming into their first 5-star Grand Prix. In fact, only looks like about the early 4th international class they've done together. So Ben deciding to retire there with Baton Rouge.
He came in just a bit on an angle, and the horse really shifted hard left. It's a good recovery at B, but then he knows that he's not going to get there on the right mark and right step out to C. So he preserves that, doesn't want to give the horse a bad experience.
Ashley Bond now, Caroline of Bullmore, the 12-year-old by Diorado for the Grade Wins partners. Brand new ride for her this year as well. Came together in Wellington in Florida, and came together in fine style in the finale Grand Prix there, winning the $500,000 Grand Prix. They're on about the 3rd ride she'd had on it.
I was going to say, it didn't seem to matter that it was a new mount.
Yeah.
It quickly became a top mount, and Ashley has she's just in a super position because she has a choice between this horse and Donatello to take to the World Championships.
Yeah, Donatello that she rode to 11th at the Olympic Games last year in Tokyo.
Horse gets a little fussy, but Ashley doesn't react, stays super patient. That vertical works out nicely. This should be the horse that she rides on Sunday, I would think.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, but we'll see. Yeah.
Again, I mean, you could just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo between the two of them, and you'd be very well off. Oh. Ashley took a win already earlier today in the 2-star, and that with a homebred. She and her father have worked together with so much success.
Now settling back in, just having had that 4 faults.
Jump that super.
There we go. Just going to finish on the 4 at 85.88. And again, not too much to worry about if that's going to be the ride into the Nations Cup. She shakes her head. Little shake of the head there as well.
So did the mare.
However, gets high but not quite wide over that exit to the triple combination. But again, it's a difficult one, having had so much success straight off the bat, to then follow it up. But a good solid round for them, finishing on the 4 there for Ashley Bond. So holding at the 6 clears so far. It is on to our next Eugenio Garza, and the Mexican rider with the 11-year-old Contargo. He's finished on the podium before now in the Grand Prix here. In fact, he was 2nd in 2019. He was 3rd the year before that with Armani. So has certainly got a good track record here at Thunderbird.
And he brings back Victor Finn for the Nations Cup, who looked super. Eugenio has done such a masterful job managing that horse and getting him back to this level. And this one, a nice one coming up for him at this level as well. Wow, beautiful adjustability there. I mean, Eugenio is so still in the tack with this horse.
Oh, oh,
The horse just jumped him right off.
not a lot I don't think he could do about that one. It was,
So unfortunately that'll be elimination.
as you say, an exit stage right, I'm afraid. But, well, bounced him out.
It was
And a little
so
bit unexpected,
smooth.
I think,
Yeah,
by the looks of that as well. The way that came in, there didn't look too much wrong with that. And then
just kind of exploded off the ground.
big
Whoa.
jump out of there, pings him out.
Has to
And
be
it's-
careful landing on his feet like that.
Yeah, try as he might, unfortunately he couldn't stay in the tack. But nothing wrong with the rest of the round, unfortunately. But Contago and Eugenio Garza there just hitting the floor. So I think that actually does round out our first round of this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix. By the looks of it, I think I've got still 2 on my list, 3 on my list. Potentially, but I know we've got a few withdrawals. We'll see. No, looks like Mario Delaurier is making his way up. He might be our last one. We'll see. Uris de la Roque will be next for them.
As we get towards the end, just 4 more to start our first round in the Longines Grand Prix.
And again, another one with a very good record here at Thunderbird, but actually a good record globally. Actually finished second in the Grand Prix here back in 2018 as well. He was on the winning team here for the Nations Cup in 2019 too. Hampton Classic winner, World Cup champion before now, and on the 14-year-old gelding by Capital.
This horse can, this is very normal for him to jump in this sort of class. Again, another kind of 1A and 1B between this horse and Bartolina. He's been a super mount for Mario.
Of course, having headed to the Olympics last year again, individually for Canada. And for him also building that next group through Emerson, who could well be there to sit alongside Bartolina this year.
His daughter Lucy actually having a super week at the 4-star at Devon in the US this week.
Yeah, riding Hester there, that of course she rode on the team to win for the US and Germany last year as well, but that horse now returning to top flight because she's been off graduating and finishing college. Little kick back there, just scrambles through that penultimate fence. Going to finish on the 8 this time, 81-2-0, 2 down for Mario Delaurier and Uris de la Roque. Not quite to be this time.
Sits inside the top 20 at the moment.
Still 6 clears to return for the jump off.
Yeah, a couple of horses have really jumped that oxer a bit awkwardly. We should have a pair left.
Yeah,
we'll see if they
we'll
come.
I say with a few late changes and a couple of withdrawals out down to the 36 original list of 38 here. I think we're going to still see Connor Swale, well, number 5 coming into our final few, and Rowan Willis still on our list for Australia.
I'm taking a look at the schooling area, and I see a rider warming up, but it's a jump-off rider.
So let's remind you of the clears so far. Caitlin Campbell of the USA, Matt Cohn of Canada, Katie Laurie of Australia, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez of Mexico, Ali Ramsey of the home nation too, and Catherine Strauss of the USA.
Looks like Rowan Willis is walking up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's Connor.
There we go.
There we go.
We can make it work. So Connor Swale, Nadal Hero and DB winners here last week, and rarely goes away from here without a win behind him. As you mentioned earlier, winning most rider here at Thunderbird in recent years. The Mannon Farms 9-year-old by Cannon. 3 World Cup wins for him on that Longines World Cup Series in the North American League last year as well.
This horse won 2 classes here last week at the 5-star level. It's a newer one for him. He thinks super highly of the horse and he's very excited about him. This will be his debut at the 5-star Grand Prix level, and he said, you know what, I just want to test it out. It's time to step up and let's just see what we have. Connor actually tried a different bit on this horse yesterday, and I don't know that he loved it. I think he's back to the previous bridle.
Connor just getting the balance of pace through that triple combination. Just got to have enough power on the way out, quiet enough on the way in. Of course, has had long-time Canadian support too from Vanessa Mannix. He also trains. Oh, it's still there. It's still there. Just looking
a bit of luck helps.
Just looking out the window as well. It's still there.
And then gets a great jump over that Oxer.
Well, for the Longines World number 5, this could be a good debut for this horse into the Longines 5-star Grand Prix 84.63. And again, a well-planned out, well-executed round from Connor Swale. Picks his way around the course and adds to the 0 lineup.
Well, what a debut. What a debut for this horse at this level. What a string Connor has, and he's just absolutely on fire.
So it leaves us one left to come, which is going to be Rowan Willis in just a moment's time. But taking a look at Connor Swale over the last couple of fences, just looks so relaxed.
It's let go of a rein, readjust. You get, you know,
plenty of space there. We can do it. A pair that has certainly put the name on plenty of trophies, including the Nations Cup Grand Prix before now in the US. That's Rowan Willis of Australia, based now down in Ocala in Florida, on his World Championship ride now. 16-year-old Chaco Blue side Blue Movie, known as Carrots to many. She has her own mind. She has her own way of doing it, but often it's a winning one.
When Carrots keeps the jumps up, there's really no one faster. And I don't know that too many other people could ride this horse like Rowan has. It's just a sensational job. We asked how she was doing yesterday, and Rowan was like, excited. It's, you know, ready to go. It sounded about normal.
Yeah.
Very eager. Great ride.
She's no, just scrambles in there, and unfortunately, that being the triple combination, the second one was going to be right in the way.
Yeah. Looks like she just might have stumbled a bit, leaving the ground. That's a shame. She's jumping great. Be interesting to see if he attempts that again, or if he just takes a courtesy fence.
Yep, not sure whether it was communication stumble, whatever, but couldn't quite see from that angle. He may well not go down the triple combination. No, he's not going to. He's just going to pop down there.
That's the right thing for the horse.
She's got plenty of experience. It didn't quite work out there. No more miles needed on the clock for her, but deciding to retire there for Rowan Willis and Blue Movie.
So it'll be 7.
7, I think. Actually, we might have one more coming into the equation. Little change around as we go through this Grand Prix. Still with Kent Farrington, I think, to come on the end here. Clears. We've got 7 of those so far. Caitlin Campbell, Matt Cohn, Katie Laurie. Mexico, Canada with Ali Ramsey, Catherine Strauss, and most recently Connor Swale for Ireland. Yes, we do. Last but by no means least, by any stretch of the imagination, the current Longines world number 7, Ken Farrington, and the 10-year-old mare by For Fashion. This is Orofina.
Yeah, you don't want to put a cap on this jump off before this pair.
Because we've seen him with plenty of very good horses win big classes throughout his career. Olympic silver medalist Kent Farrington. Again, in that category, like we talked a few with Shane Sweetnam, and as the professionals do, super good string of horses coming up underneath them. This is one for Kent. Of course, in recent times, it's been Gazelle and Austria, and now more with Orofina coming into the limelight as the likes of Landon and others.
And I believe the plan is for Landon to make his Nations Cup debut on Sunday. So this would be Orofina's day. And she has stepped up to the 5-star level just with almost immediate success. Was second in a 5-star Grand Prix at Wellington. Jumped a very big, tough Grand Prix at Windsor with just one down. Very few clear rounds that day. Wow, fantastic ride there. Had to stutter step to fit in that last stride. As he does, Kent making all the right reactions, and he's just so strong in his position.
Yep, now it's done for the first round, 81.69. We'll see whether it's done in the jump-off when they go in, because that will be an exciting one on the tail end of this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix here in Canada. Clear rounds for Kent Farrington, Orofina. As you say, now slowly stepping into these 5 stars, but really very swiftly has looked very settled into this top level. But Ken, of course, always with a plan, stepped into the 3-star Grand Prix as we saw in Wellington, Florida, then very swiftly through those progressions, and always looking comfortable at the top flight. So 8 of them returning for that jump off, and course designing team just making it out into the arena. Let's see who they are. Caitlin Campbell will start us off with our Mentos, Matt Cohn, Zaida San Giovanni, Katie Laurie, Django the second, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez and Quinley, Ali Ramsey, Bonita, Catherine Strauss with Cincinnati Kid. Good to see a few new faces into this 5-star lineup after a good run last week as well. And a few of the, well, our last 2 are in the world's top 10. Connor Swale at number 5 at the moment. Ken Farrington at the number 7 position as well. So a strong finish expected here at the Thunderbird Show Park. Those are the 8 going into the jump-off. We will be back along in a few minutes' time for the jump-off for this class. It is going to be a good one to heat up a cooler afternoon, but I'm glad to say now a dry afternoon here at T-Bird. We will be back in, I would take a spin at around 10 minutes' time with the final jump-off for this $235,000 Nations Cup Longines Grand Prix.
Especially then with the distance to follow down to the Pied Mondrian double at 10A and B. Then it is a tight roll back. Dare they come inside the Oxer on the way to the totem poles at number 12, jumping towards the timber frame. Then it is an all-out gallop across the ring over to the Longines watch face vertical to conclude the course at fence 13, all within 51 seconds to be penalty free.
Well, set to go into the jump off of this Longines Grand Prix this afternoon here at the Thunderbird Show Park here in Langley in Canada. Caitlin Campbell, as you saw, will start us off there. Matt Cohn, Katie Laurie. We've got Mexico in there. We've got Canada in there again with Ali Ramsey, Catherine Strauss, Connor Swale and Kent Farrington. Put your money where you like. This is an open field for this class here, and we will see how they fare. We've got some less experienced horses, interestingly, with the two very experienced riders in here with Connor Swell and Kent Farrington, both of those stepping those horses into the five-star Grand Prix a little bit more now. So it isn't quite the guarantee on the end that they might be, but they've proven so far that they are very capable of doing what has been a top-class first round. A few new faces, though, that might come to the fore here. Caitlin Campbell going to start us off, and Caitlin with Amentos, the 11-year-old for the SWS Training and Sales. Katie Stazak alongside me for the jump off here. Caitlin going to be our pathfinder. What is the course? Vertical starting us off at fence 3 in reverse. Then down to fence 5 after that, so going past the jury box. Swift turn back to fence 2. A vertical, 2 verticals in the centre of the course, 2 and back to 9. Again, swift turn inside needed there. 10A and B. And then 12, and then a long run down to the last of fence 13. So starting over this Odland Brown fence in reverse. Again, plenty of room to get down the course here, Katie. So we're not going to probably talk strides too much from that point of view. It's a get your eye on those first couple, and the key part of these swift turn backs here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of room actually to get a good gallop in this jump off. This horse has a bit of stride, so that'll be helpful. But still a relatively newer partnership. Obviously being a Pathfinder is a little bit of a challenge too. You also know who is behind you, and one to put the pressure on with a clear round. So
this roll back to fence 12, and then the last just unfortunately gets underneath that penultimate fence there. And again, it's the water tray underneath still. And then the Longines vertical to finish off. So finishing on the 4:47, 47. But as you said, not too experienced for this pair into these five-star Grand Prix. That's a pretty solid start.
I think she'll be thrilled with that horse today. Big step, not the quickest across the ground. She tried to be really nice and tidy back to that Oxer. What we saw most of today was the back rail of that falling and just got a little bit close.
Man that could show them how to do it here is Matt Cohn, Canadian Olympian, Zaida San Giovanni. Five-star Grand Prix winners last year here in Canada as well, and will certainly, I think, give them something to think about here in the early part. Not the ideal spot for him in the draw, going early on, still with Connor Swale and Kent Farrington and those to come after him, but he can certainly put the pressure on them, and we will see.
Well, these two, I would say, have the most combined experience of anyone in here, and this has been a super partnership. They've had success at this level. I think you'll see a good go. Very tidy here.
I was just going to say, Matt going to be very much relying on these tight turnbacks here. This is where he can start to turn the screws on the rest. Gets a good shot back there.
Super ride. All the way back in the tack. You catch that vertical a little bit blind, and he was right there to support and encourage. Opening up the gallop here. Not letting all the way out, but again, as you said, being very tighty here.
Ah.
Oh, that is a challenge there. That has been a tough fence all afternoon. Gave it a great go.
They gave it a very good go. Time of 44.08 compared to Caitlin Campbell's 47.47, but just the 4 faults of Matt Cohn. It was the back bar for him. It was the front bar for her. Chasing round to this fence. Gets up, but drops short to it. Had it been a vertical, they'd have been okay, but unfortunately caught by the ox there on the run down to the last fence. Matt Cohn giving it a shot on the 4. Gives a little indicator for time, but some good turns in there. Katie Laurie, Django the second, to test out this 11-year-old by Lordano for the Australian. Very different type to the previous.
Yes. It'd be interesting to see what she does here. She is planning to ride this horse in the Nations Cup. I don't know if she's going to let it all the way out because it's rather difficult to then rein it back in for what's going to require a lot of scope and precision in the Nations Cup on Sunday. Don't want to get him thinking that he's going back in for a jump off, but this is a very naturally quick horse that's very handy. I think she really was thinking about that turn there.
Yeah.
Still very keen, this horse. All right, so now rein it back in a little bit.
Exactly what she's doing. Just going to set them up for the last couple of fences to get some good shots at those and prep, as you say, for Sunday. Just saying, listen.
And look, it was certainly a good decision to jump today and to come back for the jump off because the horse still has plenty left in the tank.
Well, leaves them on the 8 faults this time, 47.92. Ticks them over ready for the week, but unfortunately coupled down this time for Katie, as you say, just looking for the turn as they start to come to the turn. The back end just dropping short into that oxer. Jose Alberto Martinez Vazquez now, and Quinley. 13-year-old by Quintero, as you say, went well at the Nations Cup in Mexico earlier on this year. This could give them something to think about.
Yeah, this isn't the fastest combination, but such a fighter. Doesn't spend a whole lot of time in the air, can be very tighty. This could be a really nice round, and I would love to see them do well. Great turn. Ooh, good effort behind there. You know, this is a jump off where your horse really isn't sure where it's going. These are quick, kind of blind turns. Really have to have that communication with your horse. This horse just kind of does whatever he needs to do to stay out of the way of the rail. Just enough.
Oh. Clip on the back now. Just got to drop into a nice gear to head for home, and just will give us the clear to be in front at the moment. 43.92, and it's the quickest we've seen of those groups so far, but with the clear putting them in front at this stage. Still some room in there, but as you say, nice round, good efficient round from them to get them the double clear.
Very smart ride and a great effort from horse and rider. I just love this partnership. What a nice guy and a hard-trying horse.
So leads the way so far in this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix of Canada. So Mexico up front. Now it's to Canada once again to try and reclaim the top spot here. Ali Ramsey, the Ramsey Equestrian's Bonita, a memorial by Bastique. Little turn back, little rehearsal there. That's where a couple of the teammates have had trouble so far.
This would be a super win for Ali, and this pair could feature very well. This is a naturally quick, athletic horse here.
Oh.
Okay.
Stutter at the first, now get into your stride.
There we go. All right, but now rein back. Spins around there.
This will be a good test. Got to get the right jump to it. Yes, they do. Then have the control.
Oh.
Lands. I was about to say lands there quicker, but unfortunately drops the last part away.
Carried a good bit of momentum into that double. It was very delicate and tight in the first round, even more so when you're working at speed.
Well, they're on 42.85, so it was a quicker time on the full faults to go into second. Valley Ramsey and Bonita. Very good effort from her. Coming in here quickly. Just by fractions ran out of room on the way out of the double. So Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez still leading at the moment, 43.92. Catherine Strauss, Cincinnati Kids, as you said last week, were very close with just that one time fault. They've bettered that this week to produce the clear, and now with a great opportunity for this younger rider coming through for the US.
I don't think we'll see her go full tilt here. I think the smart play, go for a nice double clear, and you can have a very good shot of getting on this podium. There are very quick riders to come, but might be taking some more risks. See what she does here.
Yeah, just move up into a nice, even, you know, half gear faster than earlier on.
Be tidy and efficient.
Good tidy turn back here.
This horse is so careful. Does that easily. And good for her, moving, picking up the pace a little bit.
127 out of that double, little bit steadier maybe. This could go into second if she leaves this last fence up. It's a very good round from Cincinnati Kid and Catherine Strauss. Yep, very good finish, 44.74 into second spot for Catherine, as you say, taking a shot at that podium. Not far away from our leader. He was on 43.92 for Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez. But a really solid round for them. Confident over the last. And there we go. Into second place so far. But two big players left on the board. Connor Swale, Nadal Hero. As you say, moved this horse into the Grand Prix 5-star for the very first time.
You know, on paper I would say, okay, he's not going to go for it. This is newer to this level. But looking at where it stands now, this is very within reach, and I think it won't take him too much of going all out to take over that top spot.
Yeah.
And there he goes.
Yeah, just neatly there. Left hand comes down to just get a little bit of a turn in, gets a really nice turn back here if they pull it off. He's just, again, keeping a certain calmness while keeping at pace here too.
Beautiful.
Lands out of there in 25. He's close on the clock. This could be quick enough.
Oh,
elbows going, no.
Yeah. He tried to pick up the pace there, really sliced it a bit too much. If that were a vertical, would have been fine. And then rolls a bit. That's just a little greenness, but that's a super horse, and gotta love Connor's competitive spirit.
41.75. Time was very good indeed. It would have been fast enough by quite some way for Connor Swale, as you say. Just move things up a gear. They'd been in a nice, even pace early on, and moved up a gear from the first round very, very nicely. Gives the horse a pat. Just started to ask the question, and as you say, that will come with experience.
And they'll win next time.
Yeah.
Yes. It won't take long.
No, it won't. Plenty of wins behind them already. He's put that horse under a little bit of pressure so far, and they've seen him come to the #1 spot now. Very different into the Grand Prix. One that's also getting that good experience at 5-star level, and who better to have in the plate than Kent Farrington, the last to go for the US with Aura Fina. 10-year-old by for fashion. Set and ready to go from what we've seen so far this year. This could be one for them to pick off. The time is there to do, 43.92. We've seen Connor Swale faster, couple down on the way. He'll have learnt a little bit from that. He's just
just
in the glove. No, or I don't know whether he's decided it's wet on there or what it is, but anyway, just wants to get the hands onto the reins.
He's preparing for a right-hand turn. You know, this horse is just been knocking on the door. It's so close. I think today could be the day.
Again, good turn, maybe a fraction wider than that of Connor Swale that we saw, but it's, you know, we'll see how they gauge. He puts a little bit more spurt on around that corner, and so makes up a little bit on the ground speed there. Lands out of there, similar time, 25 seconds for Kent Farrington.
This mare is naturally quick, has to get her eye on this oxer. Great effort.
Got a very good chance coming down to the last. He's the man for the moment, and she is the lady for the win. It is 42.04, a win for Kent Farrington and Orafina in the Grand Prix here this afternoon at Thunderbird for this Longines FEI Grand Prix success. Good win for the USA. It is Mexico in second there in the end. Catherine Strauss also for the US in third, but a little look back here. Sets up nicely, got loads of space to get there. They made a little bit up in the middle part of the course.
Perfect round, perfect ride. He made it look easy. The mare is naturally quick, and Kent just guided her and gave a strong ride. They were very due for this. Well deserved.
Well deserved. Kent Farrington keeps the USA flag flying here above the northern border, and Kent Farrington will bring home the win with Orafina. Great to see that. As I say, it is some exciting new horses for Kent that have now been in development with him and now hitting their top stride. So Kent Farrington, Orafina will be your number one. Second to Mexico, Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez and Quinley keeping up Mexico's very good record of podium finishers in the Grand Prix here. Catherine Strauss, super rounds from her. Good, well-ridden, well-calculated double clear there to finish in third place. Ali Ramsey and Matt Cohn representing the home nation of Canada in fourth and fifth. Caitlin Campbell of the USA in sixth. Connor Swale, fastest time of the lot at 41.75, but 2 down on the way. And Katie Laurie after that into 8th place. Presentation on its way. And as I say, remember, we've got a good schedule for you tomorrow as well for those following on from Thunderbird. And, of course, across the various platforms, we'll be bringing you the Longines FEI Nations Cup of Canada here on Sunday. So looking forward to all of that. But Kent Farrington, number one finisher, and there's the rundown of all the rest to feature in the field. A few of those that we'll be seeing into that Nations Cup on Sunday as well. So it is teams that will take over on the final day. Saturday we'll see Youth Nations Cups here as well as alongside some of the big 5-star competitions too. But it is going to be the Stars and Stripes that fly here for this Longines FEI Nations Cup Grand Prix here in Canada. Presentation, a couple of minutes away. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
We will be back over the next few days.
We shall.
Hey Nathan, that's it. Pack it up, buddy.
representing Longines, Yannick Rosier, International Sports Protection avec Canada. Representing the International Quest Federation are Forest Richards from Ireland, Durban, and Cameroon. And representing the organisers of the beginning of Thunderbird, from Digital, CEO, and Prix, President of the Thunderbird Show Park in London.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait for everybody inside to head out, so then, because it was blocking a lot of stuff.
Six nations taking on the opportunity to try good football by taking long on the Cup final in Barcelona in September. And of course, national here in London. So we prepare to welcome you our top six athletes for the Longines Grand Prix Canada for 2022. Leading in will be our sixth place finisher, put their hands together for the USA, Caitlin Campbell of Mentos. Taking top five today, Canadian Olympic medalist, Ryan Sergio.
Wrap their cars up.
Let's recognize fourth place finisher Ali Ramsey with Benita Van Het Kaiserslaw. Ali and Benita had a huge award ceremony, but congratulations to them on their fourth places. Podium finishes today. In third place in the United States of America is Cincinnati kid, it is Gavin Scott.
Just zoom in straight onto it.
Taking second place from Mexico.
If T-Birds TV will let me, I will.
And your winner of the Longines Grand Prix here in Langley, British Columbia for 2022, the United States of America with Orofina, Kenneth Barrington. Well, as he steps forward to the Longines jump stand
Carson?
and takes the position of honor here in the Thunderbird jumping ring as winner of another Nations Cup Grand Prix in his career. Ladies and gentlemen, could we ask you please to rise as we honor our winner of the Longines Grand Prix with the playing of Kenneth Barrington, the national anthem of the United States of America. international sponsorship and event manager for Longines, who will present
Sponsored
10
by
characters with a watch from the Longines killer. Split second victory here today for Ken Farrington for the United States of America. Well, joining the presentation party now will be Jay Chittle and Chris Pratt, accompanied by representatives of the International Equestrian Federation and our judges and officials here this week. Number 3. Also congratulations, 8th winner of the Grand Prix. Well, if we've got those pictures, we'll commemorate this latest victory on an illustrious career at Ken Farrington. We'll ask our presentation party now to move to our second place finisher. One of our early double clears here at the Peter Holmes track, representing Mexico here in our Longines Grand Prix with Quimby. Our runner-up was Jose Alberto Martinez Vasquez. Chris, introduce